Hi there VC, it's Steve Whitty here, and this is a video, a contest entry into Channel X's 200 subs giveaway. Now, Channel X is a channel I've stumbled across through watching other people's videos. They've already done an entry to the contest, so I have subscribed and I'm going to submit my entry. So I'm just getting used to the channel. Well, I've liked what I've seen so far. Thing to bear in mind is that Channel X is a drummer himself, and so this is very much something that's passionate to him. What I will say is, the people I'm choosing are not technically, say, the best drummers, I don't think, but I think that they fit the band to me. So, saying that, I'll start off number one. I've gone Neil Peart, and these have come in order, not in any particular order as I wrote them down as I was compiling a list. Neil Peart from Rush. Rush are my favourite band, so I think that probably it's sort of given. It's not so much the drumming speaks for itself. I mean, there are very few drum solos that I will happily sit through, and he's one of them. The fact that he also contributes the lyrics to the band, I think, stands him apart from most drummers. I think there's always that air of, I wouldn't say superiority, but something that, he just had that little bit more about him. He used to do all the interviews years ago. I remember him being interviewed on Radio 1 when promoting Exit Stage Left. So he was very, very much the articulate member of the band. Next drummer I came up with, Phil Collins. This is his debut with Genesis Nursery Crime. Phil Collins, I think sometimes it gets lost now in his solo career. He's in the 80s. That how good a drummer he is and what he brought to Genesis, the band. They suddenly were a lot tighter, and it just sounded so much better. The drumming sounded so much better than, to say, on Trespass. Somebody that knew what he was doing on drums. The fact he could sing as well, provide backing vocals to Peter Gabriel, was a bonus. And I think he just added that little favour. Extra. And the fact he then took over vocals from Genesis, but still did his drumming, and he still drummed on the albums, I think says a lot about his ability. Sadly, Phil Collins cannot drum anymore. I think his health's not in the best, and which is a shame, because I think, in heart of hearts, if they said, Genesis, come get your Gabriel back together, I think he'd jump at the chance of sitting behind the drums. Another drummer that I'm particularly fond of, and it's Brian Downey from Thin Lizzy. This is Johnny the Fox album. I think very underrated drummer. I think he adds a lot. He was the constant in the band, maybe because he was very close to Phil Lynott. They grew up together in Dublin. But I think that constant beat, I think, just helped the band along. I think I've had it read that some people consider him to be the best twin bass drummer out there. Obviously, will disagree with that. But I just think he just adds so much to the sound of the band. Now, a drummer that I think he's a bit more appraisal now. And they always said about this guy that he wasn't the best drummer around, but he was the best for the band. And that drummer is Ringo Starr. I like his drumming. I think he does suit the Beatles. And this is not the 50th anniversary reissue. This is the Agostini reissue I've had a couple of months ago. But listening to the reissue of Sgt. Pepper, I think you just suddenly then tweak how much he offered. The drums suddenly stand out more, and he's a lot better than people think. He's more than just keeping a steady beat. There was more to him than that. That's why they got rid of Pete Best and wanted, instantly. John Lennon says, "We'll get rid of Pete. We'll have Ringo." It was the first choice to become the drummer in the drummer in the Beatles. So I'm very pleased, as I say, Ringo Starr. And the essence of a drummer, to me, is about keeping that beat. You're there. You're a steady member. In a sense, you're supposed to be the steady member of the band. Off stage, what you do is your own choice. And this next drummer, I think, sort of represents somebody that's always been there, kept the beat, never thrown any wobbles at all. So, next favourite drummer, Charlie Watts, Rolling Stones. He's just constantly kept the beat, and it is argued that this should Charlie Watts jacket in, or when he passes on, or whatever, then that would be the end of the Stones. While Mick and Keith could carry on as the band, that element would be missing. John. Now, as I said, the drummer is there to sort of like keep the beat and sort of be the steady member. And even if the band have got sort of like arty pretensions, he's there to stabilise it and just rein it back in. So my next choice is Paul Thompson from Roxy Music. Very much your meat and potatoes of the band. And probably growing up in the northeast of England, it's a very tough area, men are men sort of area, mining, shipbuilding, wherever. I mean, Brian Ferry is from that area, from that neck of the woods as well. But he moved down south and sort of like went to art college, so he had sort of like changed his view. Paul Thompson very much kept the band on the even keel, and that's why he's one of my favourite drummers. I think he felt when the band's sound changed in the 80s, he left, I think, around Flesh and Blood. He didn't like the way the sound had changed. He found it was a bit too soft. But I think for those early Roxy Music albums, he's just absolutely solid, absolutely brilliant. Another one of my favourite drummers, and this is Don Powell from Slade. Again, nothing. There he is, Don. There. But he does what he does, which is more remarkable. We've had drummers that have come back, like Rick Allen, who's lost his arm from Def Leppard, but came back into the band, carried on. Don Powell suffered a major motor accident in 1973, and it was huge. His fiancée died, unfortunately, but the effects it had, it wiped his memory. He can't remember really anything that happened prior to that, and he can't remember anything that happens afterwards. He has to write his day down in a diary, and literally has to write things down, what he does, in order to trigger his mind. Otherwise, he can't remember. So it makes the fact he still drums quite amazing. Maybe it's just somewhat intuitive when he hears the tune that he knows, oh, this is what I've got to do. But yeah, great drummer. I suppose, obviously, great drummers. Favourite drummers. I'm going to go John Bonham. I've got put to the Untitled album. And I have to say, yeah, he changed rock drumming. He gave it power. And particularly when the levee breaks, he's probably, the fact that he gets sampled so much, in hip hop and the likes, I think says it all, really. Yes, okay, what he did off stage, some of it was a bit distasteful, but as a drummer, you can't knock what he brought to the band. And I think changed the face of rock drumming forever. Another favourite drummer, number 9 in my list, Rat Scabies of the Damned. I think it's argued that some songs like punk, that's all free chords and musicianship's rubbish. But actually, I would disagree with that, because I think sometimes it's very difficult to keep things simple. And the Damned are very good. This is their third album, Machine Gun Etiquette. And I think Rat Scabies drumming was just absolutely brilliant at this. at this point, and there's the man himself. I just think it's just absolutely brilliant. Amazing drummer, great drummer. My final choice was sort of like, and it's difficult because this, difficult to get the 10, and this came up, and I know I've missed some names off here. I've gone Carl Palmer. That's the 10th name that came to my head, and yeah, I think again, it's very easy to knock ELP, Prague, pretentious, yada yada yada, and yes, Carl Palmer may in quite regret the stainless steel drum kit, but this is about his drumming skills, and as a drummer, really, really good. I just feel everything. The fact when he left ELP, he went on to Asia, and it was more of a steady rock beat, and he that sort of transcended. He transcended that, and that sort of went through. I just think says more about the skill of him as a drummer. So those are my 10 favourite drummers, and I know I've left out Keith Moon, and it's probably an obvious one I've missed out. But I can only have 10, so I'll give Keith Moon an honourable mention. So that's my entry. I hope you liked my choices. If you did, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Feel free to comment. I will reply back to your comments. If you liked what you've seen and you want to see more of my videos, just click on subscribe. I'll subscribe back to you. So, best of luck to everybody who's done an entry to the contest so far. I think it's been quite a popular contest. So, until the next video, take care of yourselves. Bye.